Good day, everyone. Welcome to Sound Espressivo, powered by virtual concert halls. We're broadcasting today from Vienna, Virginia. I'm Ouspenskaya, I'm a pianist, and I'll be your host today. Sound Espressivo is a new generation of classical music competition, which offers contestants to perform live on a broadcast, television style, from their own location anywhere in the world. Sound Espressivo panel of judges represents top-performing artists and music educators from around the globe. Sound Espressivo offers an unprecedented array of awards for musicians. Our guests join our programs from their own locations around the globe. They bring and share their musical gifts, their expertise, their personalities, their dreams. We present our guests' opinions, and we hope that our audience will benefit from hearing different and maybe sometimes conflicting points of view on classical music, music aesthetics, business, and other topics which we raise throughout our programs. Welcome to our podcast. Meet the judges, music promoters, music managers, and music educators.
No matter where you are or who you are, music connects us all. We started with a dream, but now we are paving the future. Welcome to the Sound Espressivo Global Competition. Fully virtual, yet bringing musicians closer together than ever before, now on a global scale. True live, inclusivity, diversity, connection, community, an extraordinary array of judges. Get noticed by companies all over the world. Prizes, scholarships, performance opportunities. Apply to be a part of the most exciting congregation of artists like nothing you've ever seen before. We guarantee quality and leave no musician behind. We can't wait to hear you on the virtual stage.
Today we invited violinist Hagai Shaham, who will be joining us from Israel in a moment, and who is brought to our program by the iClassical Academy. It's the company which helps introduce professional musicians and music students to the work of some of the most renowned and influential concert artists and educators through online learning. iClassical Academy also helps artists of the greatest stature reach a broader audience and to discover the potentials of working and connecting through online platforms. iClassical Academy offers a fully rounded educational curriculum, which is a tremendous source of vetted and proven knowledge. The courses are both academic and practical, and are designed for professional musicians and as well as for students, amateurs, and music lovers. The courses are created in close collaboration with some of the most respected and leading professionals in the industry. Recently, the company opened their collection of courses as a rounded 360 curriculum, where people can access all of what iClassical accumulated over the years. Pretty much like what a conservatory or a university offers to their enrolled students. iClassical Academy is a supporter of the Sound Espressivo competition. The company is sponsoring prizes for winning contestants, which are designed to help musicians be better equipped with modern tools and knowledge for progressing towards their goals as students and professional musicians. Let's welcome now Hagai Shaham, a renowned violinist, educator, tireless supporter of classical music and musicians. He will be joining us with his son, Michael Shaham, a young rising star violinist. Welcome, both of you. It's wonderful to have you here, and it's a real special treat for me to have a team of the father and son, both violinists.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having me and us.
Yeah, this is wonderful. So, Hagai, you're joining from Israel, and Michael, you're joining from Germany.
Correct.
So we got almost the entire world covered here in this broadcast studio. Yeah. Hagai, you're an established violinist, and you collaborated with some of the most renowned and influential artists of our time. You performed with major orchestras around the world. Your artistry had been acknowledged through numerous awards and through collaboration with some of the most outstanding musicians. You're a recording artist too. You recorded many albums and to great acclaim. And I've just started. And people should pay attention to the banners below us on the frame, because I'm not going to say everything. Just read what's on there. It's incredible what you have accomplished, and you're just such a normal, very accessible person. I'm really impressed with the simple approach you have to
you.
people and to your own fame. What a better way to introduce a great artist than through your artistry. I'd like to really watch, as an intro on stage, to watch one of your, or a couple of your performances. Would that be okay with you both?
Sure.
Sure. Yes.
Okay, great. Let's see what we got. Wow, that was fantastic. Tell us a little bit about the video.
The video I recorded about 2 weeks ago. We're mostly stuck at home in Israel. There was a shutdown, just recently opened a little bit. So, yeah, I tested my new microphone equipment, which I bought during this period. And of course, we mostly work from home. So, it's one of my outputs recently.
Interesting. It sounds so good. Sounds like it was recorded in the studio. You're becoming your own sound engineer, huh?
Well, my own living room, yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible how many musicians are actually diving into learning this part, which we used to take for granted.
Yeah.
There's all those sound engineers, we just make you sound good. Or
Well,
close,
working
close.
working on that, yeah. Still, I need to improve, but it's part of our life today.
It
Yeah.
is. Yep,
Yeah.
yep, and that's quite incredible. We have one more video which we would like to show, and after that we'll come back with a few comments about that one. That's a very interesting piece. Can you tell us a bit about the composer and the piece?
Sure. It's a prelude by Israeli composer Menachem Tzur. He is a professor emeritus at the moment at the Jerusalem Academy, and he composed this piece, I think, in 1991 for his son Yona, who is also a violinist. And I found this piece very effective, so I played it a lot, and many times after orchestral solo concerts as an encore. So I promote this piece, and actually 2 of my kids already play this piece. So
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I want to note that your success and your artistic productivity are quite contagious. You have 3 children, and they're all following your steps into this profession, which many people consider not a very easy path to success and financial stability. And a lot of musicians' parents may say, maybe you choose something better to do. So how did you manage that?
Well, first of all, I think that music is a language that you acquire, usually in my family, at least in early stages, since birth. They heard music, and I think it's important that one gives the kids the opportunity to study music, whether they continue or not. So it helps the development and the personality and the motorical development. So we did that. At a certain stage, each one of the kids became better. My first daughter, she started as a pianist, and later she wanted to join the orchestra. We lived in South Pasadena in California. She wanted to join the orchestra, so she moved to the quickest instrument possible, double bass. And today she's a double bassist. She plays in the Budapest Festival Orchestra. She won one of the online competitions herself with a video we made at home during the quarantine.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. First prize in the Asperger competition. And so she is today a professional. My second daughter, she plays the violin and the viola. So she wanted to start it. So I didn't say no. And when she became better, she wanted to continue. And today she studies in the University of the Arts, UDK in Berlin. And my son is the same. He wanted to start violin. I absolutely did not force him or encourage him too much. And I think that it's something very inner, and if somebody has a desire, I find it a blessing, because our profession is our hobby and our love. And I don't think that so many people can say that. I mean, many people who go to work, the moment they come back home, they don't want to think about what they do at work, whether it's office work or whatever, and they have other hobbies. But our profession is our hobby. So if somebody can do that, this is a blessing. Indeed, it is not easy, and one needs to be competitive today and to be better than the others, or to come with new ideas in order to succeed, not only to be good at. So it is challenging. So I agree with you, but that's our maybe destiny, and each one chooses what they want to do.
Absolutely. Let's hear from Michael what he thinks about choosing profession as a musician. Michael.
Yeah. In my opinion, that's really rare. What my dad just said, he mentioned that our profession is actually also our hobby, and I think if you can be good at it and even have fun with it, so you should do it. And it's really something not to take for granted. And yeah, I think that's really special.
Something not to take for granted, and that inner desire to communicate through music, inner desire to pass on that passion and love, it shows in the ability of the music to really inspire and emotionally satisfy the audience. And Michael, you're incredible at that at your young age. Let's introduce the rising star violinist with his own way of communicating, his own language. We'll hear a video of Michael performance. Bravo, 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 bravo. I'm joining that enthusiastic crowd after your performance, Michael. What a fantastic playing. Tell us when and what was this performance?
I believe this was a year and a half ago in Israel with Israel Philharmonic. Yeah, I think I won an audition to play with them, and I got some concerts with them, and this is what I played.
Yeah. Fantastic. That's phenomenal performance. Hagai, you must be really proud of it.
Yeah. Was not bad for a few days before his 16th birthday.
Fantastic. Good way to celebrate Sweet 16, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
Now, I have a ton of questions, and we may not be able to run through all of them, but I'm really dying to ask you some hot questions of today. And today's situation is really devastating circumstance across the board for all of us who are working in the performing arts and music education. And pretty much everywhere in the world, it's pretty much the same. So what's your response to the situation which many professional musicians perceive as potentially the end of performing arts, at least as we know it?
Well, I wouldn't like to think that. I think that we are facing difficult times. I think that we are adjusting accordingly. We have, good for us, technology that we didn't have 20 years ago. If the pandemic was 20 years ago, we wouldn't be able to teach or to perform live or to do what we do right now. Yes, it may change, but I don't think it's the end of the profession, because live music is something that I want to believe, that will always be a necessity of people who consume culture, not only music, but culture. There's something in the sound and in the event of listening to live music, seeing the pictures in the museum and not in a computer, to socialize with friends, with other people. So I don't think that because of that we are stuck at home in front of our computers. We won't have that natural necessity what we had before. And some people said it will even have it in a greater amount after we can get out here. So I really wish to believe that we'll have that. However, I believe that some of those platforms we got used to and will keep serve us. And as technology is getting better, we will see more online lessons, we will see more streaming, but I don't think it will replace fully the live events. I hope so.
So, Michael, what's your take on it? I'm dying to hear from the younger generation. You're dedicating yourself to this profession. What do you think is going to happen?
I agree with my dad. I think that I'm optimistic about the future of music and classical music and performance. Of course, these are hard and difficult times for everyone, not only in this area of. I think there are many devices that can help us with this, and even though it might decline now, like, of course, teaching music is not as normal as usually, but it will be even better because you will appreciate seeing each other, and I think there is a bright future for music.
Okay, well, there are some voices of concern, and there are many voices of concern, and musicians are really looking up to people like you, Hagai, and you, Michael, successful musicians of different generations, for answers and your opinions about it. Let me just represent the voices of more pessimistically, people with more pessimistic mood, shall we say. And people are saying that for many young musicians, and some young musicians express that too, they are considering that maybe they have chosen a dead or dying profession. How do you respond to that?
Well, I think that this is nothing to do with the pandemic. The world of musicians has grown to enormous size, and the competition is fierce. It means that in earlier times we had less musicians and less other options like television and DVD or whatever, streaming and internet. So people would consume the live music as a source of entertainment, and today there are many options. Budgets from governments and private sources is less in recent years. So from this respect, it is more competitive. But on the other side, there are so many new possibilities which we didn't have before. We have, for instance, being a violinist, you can be a soloist, you can be a chamber musician, you can be orchestral player, you can be teacher at various levels. You can play world music, you can play jazz, you can do music education, not specifically only violin, and also you can do music therapy and neuro music and all kind of subjects which are developing rapidly these days. So I think that if somebody it has a lot of imagination and is very motivated, one can find still things in the profession if they really believe that they want to deal with that and that this will be their profession. That's their fire burning inside. It is competitive. I'm not saying that not. And I think that, I'm teaching also doctoral level students in New York University. And I know that they're going also through difficult times. So I'm very much aware of the struggle at all the levels. So I don't disagree with those voices, but I think that with the right drive, one can find also solutions for that today. And if somebody doesn't believe in it, perhaps they should go to a different profession. Nobody should do it because of forcing them to do, or parents' pressure and stuff like this. It should come from the heart.
Absolutely. Interesting that you mentioned the vast variety of the fields where musicians can find themselves being in demand. And maybe one of the common misconceptions was from coming to us from the 19th and early 20th century that a violinist or a pianist like myself, unless you're a Hollywood kind of like star and drama queen, there's no other options for fulfillment in the profession, but this is not true. And I want to specifically ask Michael, there are some other fields which are coming into our professional areas where we can, find our expression and find our audience. And those are mixed media and mixed forms. And a lot of classical musicians, especially younger generation musicians, find their niche in composing covers and recording music videos and bridging the conventional view of classical music, which is rooted in 19th, 20th century music, with the music which is being produced in humongous quantities now, which is dedicated to video clips and maybe movie music and video music and gaming music. How do you feel about those fields?
Yeah, that's true. This profession is branching out to many areas, and I think everything is kind of connecting with each other. So first of all, there are plenty of jobs, right? That's just, it helps the idea of music is not dying, and there's enough jobs. And yeah, I think you said it, in the early 1900s, there was this narrative that goes on until today that you can't live by just being a musician. And I think it's a very popular narrative, which isn't true. I think it was always there, and it will keep, being said all the time. But I think quality and music will win over all these narratives that people like. And I have many friends, to your question, that they branch out to these professions, and they can learn and study music in a high level, and then kind of use that in other ways, not necessarily playing in an orchestra or,
Not necessarily conventional jobs.
Yes.
How do you feel about people venturing into those unconventional branches? Do you feel it's more like a betrayal of tradition, or more like a natural development of the classical music?
Me or?
Both of you, of course.
Well, I'll say first. I love it, and I think it's great. I think it's good for also the classical music world, and for other, just kind of globalization of all these different fields. I think it's great, really. Yeah,
I think that I agree with Michael. I had a student who at the DMA program, Sonny Brook, who had a quartet which was specializing in video games music, and they played original music written for them, using themes from video games. And they performed in arenas for 10,000 people, a piece of 15 minutes or so in convention centers, to audiences that never maybe heard a violin and cello. It was a string quartet. And, the moment they played this theme from Super Mario or something, people went crazy. They recognized those themes. And it was in a really serious structured music by a good composer. And, my student told me that once one guy came to him after the concert with his father on a wheelchair or something, and he said that he never saw him happy, like he was completely paralyzed, and he was smiling when he heard this music. So there's only, if you can communicate, and this is what communicates today. There's nothing wrong with this. No betrayal. No. This is a profession today. At the 18th, 19th century, the dance music and the popular music and the classical music was the same language. So basically, the dances of Bach, the minuet and whatever, could be, understood by the people. Today, the classical music, has a branch into modern music and other different styles. And other branch went to jazz and popular music of all kinds, and video music is one of them. Music is a language. It is a way to communicate. There's no wrong in it. Only positive things. Different but positive.
That's very interesting. On the Sound Espressivo panel of judges, we have two judges who are distinguished, very well-known violinists. Both are violinists, and both are continuing their profession in two different ways. And one is performing on the traditional violin, traditional classical repertoire, and the other one is a parallel branch. They are working on performing music on the electric violin. And some people, we hear the voices of criticism, of course. We don't want to be judged in a classical music competition by someone who is playing electric violin. That's just not right. What's your response to that?
I have no problems with that. I think that an artist is an artist, musician is a musician. The media, the instrument, what they play, is not the important thing. It's like, the Voice of America or those contests. You have panel of juries from different fields. One was a singer or a singer, and another was an actor, or one is a manager. To recognize talent, what's wrong with playing electric violin? You had great people who played electric violins. I mean, there was a classical violinist, a French guy called Jacques-Luc Ponty, who became a jazz violinist, who played, his violin was electrified. He can play great, he can play lousy. It's not because of the electricity.
Interesting. You can play well, you can play lousy. Electricity has nothing to do with
it. No. I don't electrify my violin. My violin is too old for that. But that's a different branch of the profession. There's no wrong in it. Absolutely. I wouldn't mind. I think it's the more diversity, the better.
What do you think, Michael? You're still in the age of competitions. Would you trust to be judged by someone like Alex Markov, who is doing both conventional, traditional violin and electric violin, or Michelle Kim, who is a violinist in the National Opera, and she has her own band where she performs on electric violin? Would you trust those people to judge your artistry?
Of course I would. I think this is the development. This is where the world is going right now. And of course we can criticize it, but we also criticized many other things in history that turned out to be genius. So I think, I would go to these competitions. Of course, if I would sign up to them, what can I say even? I want to go compete and do these things.
Interesting. I want to introduce the course which you, Hagai, developed for iClassical Academy, and that's a series of master classes recorded and available for others to purchase and watch. And this is a step towards learning through online platform, through recording, and not in person. And again, we hear a lot of people speaking against that, and it's a very hard topic at the moment for a lot of professional musicians. It's a dilemma. Can performing art be taught and learned effectively through online methods and materials, or even at all? What's your take on it?
Well, of course it can be taught. We are getting better and better at that. So we also learn how to teach online. So first of all, the online lesson started years ago. I think one of the champions, the pioneers of this was Pinchas Zuckerman. I'm talking about 20 years, even more. Friend of mine from Finland, collaborated with him and a company, and I remember him giving masterclasses that long ago, and I took also part in this. And of course, technology was not as good as today. And today, if you have a dedicated line and good internet, the latency is good, and the cameras, everything is much better. The sound is better. Everybody upgraded the sound during the pandemic, and also with the teachers, we learn how to deal with the situation. So, for instance, I have a revolving chair. I demonstrate to them, all kind of angles, so they can see me. Yeah. So I do virtual 360.
360.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And we use the technology for this purpose. So, for instance, the student sends me a YouTube clip before the lesson, and we watch it together in the lesson. We do share screen, and I stop and I show exactly those places that were not so good or yes good, whatever. So we use the technology to our benefit. It is not like the real lesson. In real lesson, we have another dimension that unfortunately not yet can pass through the screen and the microphones. The sound is not the same, the personality is not the same, but of course I'm very grateful that we have this possibility at the moment. And I think that some of the technical issues and even the musical issues can be taught very well online. One can watch lessons on specific topics. And of course, with the knowledge of how to maneuver with the camera, you can ask a student to move to see the other side, sometimes even better than when you're in a room. More kind of neutral zone and unabridged. So I'm positive about that. I don't think it is a replacement, but it is an additional.
So it's its own different beast from what I'm hearing you say. And for some things, maybe it has a benefit, while for some other dimensions, of course, it cannot provide what in-person lesson can, right?
Yes, but for instance, last week I gave a lesson to a violinist from Peru. No way he could make it to meet me anywhere. Not only this time, but also other times.
Absolutely.
So because of the possibility of the online lessons, we met and I gave him 3 lessons. Some of my students are, today I gave a lesson to a string quartet. 2 were in Seoul, Korea. 1 was in Taipei and the other one in New York.
And that's unfathomable and cost prohibitive for a lot of people to do. In buying the airline tickets and all of that stuff just don't even get me there. The cost and the logistics. And here it's at a click of a mouse. Basically, you can get on a platform and be together with your teacher. That's incredible. I'd like us to watch maybe a couple of clips from the course which you recorded for iClassical, and maybe we'll come back with a few comments in between.
Yes.
And T. More. Okay. I hear it several times. I hear E, E, E. Can you move more? You do it with the same finger. Okay. So you have to move much more. It's too close. You see, at a fast tempo, if you put it too close to each other, it just sounds the same note. The other thing about this area of the G string, if you play a lot of bow, you can get the wolves. So make sure. That's dangerous. Good. Okay. Octave. Okay. Pam, pa, 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 pa. Do you have a legato? Do you have a legato in the middle?
No.
So I don't mind if you're doing it in the same direction of the bow, but oboings, but separate. So whatever.
I love that instruction, and to me, there's an added value to that because there's just so much you cover in a few seconds of instruction and demonstration that if it's in a physical space where we're just there and nothing is recorded, I wouldn't be able to revisit it. In this course, I think it's really important because people can find that spot. How did he do that? And maybe even slow down and just really zoom into the way you show it. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, I didn't watch it for a long time, and it's funny because that particular student, Yankee Karatas, she's from Turkey, and after that masterclass, she came to study with me her master's, and she's now about to finish her DMA doctoral. So I've known her for many years now, and she's doing very well. And at the time she was young, and I remember the energy. Come on. And I think that one should never forget that even if you do it on the screen, the energy must be there. So we should not treat it, okay, this is a neutral zone, and I just give instructions. Personality can come through. So I think that recorded lessons, real lessons, are a great thing to watch. I think it's very popular today.
I think so too. My students watch pre-recorded lessons, and it's better to because they're going to watch it anyway. They're on YouTube all the time anyway. I think it's really great that iClassical Academy put together all these really excellent products, because now I can say, well, don't watch whatever random stuff on YouTube, go there, because I know they'll bring some ideas which I won't spend time convincing them that it may not be such a good idea.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And this was years ago already, before the pandemic, but of course now it's 10 times full.
Mm-hmm. Let's see one more segment and we'll come back with the comments on that one.
Why did Bach bother to write all those little notes while his other friends, composers from the period, just wrote long note, and performers used to improvise on that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yes.
And he saved on every piece of paper, if you look at the manuscript, one sonata ends, the next line, next sonata starts. Yeah? He had 20 kids,
Yes.
yet he spent so much ink writing this. So we have to do what he wrote. You know why? Because his improvisations are the best. But it is improvisations.
Yes.
So don't make it like a melody, big melody.
Okay.
So we have the freedom, but more than that, we have the direction. Second phrase. Okay, try to pace a little bit. That's Tchaikovsky, yeah? Okay. Dissonance. Resolution. Even with the trill, yeah, the trill makes it still going on. It goes to the A, but it should not be more important than the dissonance.
She's a fabulous student. She really has that energy. I don't know how about you. I can feel the energy coming through your videos.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see, especially a long time since I watched it.
Michael, do you feel that all these pictures on your screen are actually people, or is it more to you like something remote, like your dad said, which should not be remote?
Well, now I'm definitely used to it after I don't know how many months even of online school, right? My school right now is on the second semester of being online, and I guess I get used to it, and I get more free, and other people as well, and I can feel the energy still.
Yeah, you can say he's studying Curtis at Philadelphia.
Yeah, I go to the Curtis Institute, and I don't even know if the second semester of this year will be online or in Philadelphia. We'll see.
But for now, you have your entire curriculum online, right?
Yes.
Yeah, majority of the schools are in that situation, or some hybrid version, and lots of things work out or don't work out. It's a complicated situation, of course. Now, there is another aspect for all young musicians, especially, but not so young musicians too, is the competition scene. And the Sound Espressivo competition relies on virtual stage, which is the one we are using today for our interview. It's provided by Virtual Concert Halls, which is a new model of broadcasting company. Did not exist before pandemic, and we're supporting live music performances and programs with a cutting-edge technology, broadcasting technology, and television production systems. This company was created by professional musicians, performers and educators. Of course, we collaborated with professionals of other fields, from the tech industry and from the television industry. But the core team of this company was the initiative based on the energy and desire of professional musicians to continue to do what we love and value, which is live performance. Given all the restrictions and all of the limitations of the virtual platform, we still wanted to create one as a alternative opportunity for professional musicians to step on stage and connect with audience in a live performance event, as opposed to pre-recorded and uploaded video. And currently, our stage had provided an opportunity for over 400 professional musicians with the programs which surpassed a landmark 100. We produced more than 100 events and shows. And among people who stepped on this stage and took the risk and courage to perform live on Virtual Concert Halls are Grammy Award winners and Emmy Award winners and members of the top orchestras and opera companies and schools like Juilliard School and Yes Curtis, colleagues from your school, and Moscow Conservatory and Cologne Conservatory and many other very respected professional institutions and organizations. So at this time, Sound Espressivo swings the door open of this stage to musicians from everywhere, wherever they are, and regardless of whether or not they're affiliated with the most established and well-funded institutions, because one can literally connect to this broadcasting studio from their own living room. And we would like to play a short video which we compiled to show people how it all started.
No matter where you are or who you are, music connects us all. We started with a dream, but now we are paving the future. Welcome to the Sound Espressivo Global Competition. Fully virtual, yet bringing musicians closer together than ever before, now on a global scale. True live, inclusivity, diversity, connection, community, an extraordinary array of judges. Get noticed by companies all over the world. Prizes, scholarships, performance opportunities. Apply to be a part of the most exciting congregation of artists like nothing you've ever seen before. We guarantee quality and leave no musician behind. We can't wait to hear you on the virtual stage.
So striving to bring the musical family together and overlook the limitations and look forward for opening horizons. That's the idea of virtual concert halls. But speaking of competitions in general, music competitions are not new, and yeah, we are new in this virtual reality, but the scene is not new. And there's a lot of criticism of whether competitions evolved into something less useful or helpful as they were intended to be when they started. What's your view? How can the competitions be helpful today?
Well, competitions idea were very old. In music, I think the first competition for violin at least was a Wieniawski competition, where Jeanette Neveu won and Oistrakh was second, and somewhere there Ida Handel was also a child prodigy, and Gimpel and Temianka, those names. And a little bit later, the Queen Elizabeth competition started, and then Tchaikovsky, and today, every month you have a competition, so many more. But on the other hand, we have many more violinists or musicians who play. I think that the impact of a single competition is not as big as it used to be at the 30s, or winners of Tchaikovsky competition was really a big thing, because you have so many. So, however, to prepare to a competition is very useful. It drives the artist, the musician, the young musician, to prepare a very big program, and then to perform it and to experience is very important. I don't think that one should put all the shares in one competition, but do several. And even if you don't win, you meet friends for life. You perform on stages. Some people who did not win competition made a career because some other people heard them and liked them more than the winners even. Sometimes not necessarily the most interesting artist wins, but somebody who was promoted to win. So I'm not saying that there are completely politics-free business, but still one should go with a very neutral and positive idea about competitions, to perform. And my advice to my students, when you go to competition, try to be you. Try to be yourself and not try to please this or that member of the jury. And don't try to play like somebody who won last year. Just be yourself. That's the best.
That's very interesting. So, Michael, you probably heard that advice before. And you're in the age where majority of young musicians compete a lot. What's your take on competitions?
Yeah, even though I'm not a person who goes to many competitions, I do think it's good. It's very good practice. It definitely improves you. And I think, yeah, it's just a good thing. It should, even though competitions isn't in the nature of art, it's something that is necessary at least once in your lifetime to do.
Once in your lifetime. Have you done your once in a lifetime competition yet?
Well, yes, maybe more than once, but yeah, maybe I'm not the best person to ask, but I am for competitions, yes.
Okay, well, you are the best person to ask because you are the one in our program at the moment. We want to hear from you what you really think.
Well, yeah, I'm not a person. I have some friends who do go to many competitions. That's why I'm saying that. I have friends that go to 6 competitions every year. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, I think it's really good practice and I should go to more competitions.
Okay, now Sound Espressivo is an unusual competition and the first of its kind. And while preparing the program of this competition and the structure of it, we consulted with close to 200 musicians. And we were trying to hear the essence of the criticism directed at the currently existing competitions and the ideas of how the problems with the competitions can potentially be solved. And there are a few things which the Sound Espressivo does very differently from majority of standard approach to the competitions, maybe not including the biggest ones like Tchaikovsky, but even Tchaikovsky competition is now, for instance, stopping the contestants during the performance. But let me just go through a few and see what your thoughts on that are. First of all, Sound Espressivo competition did away with requiring to submit a video recording. And instead, it requires the contestants to perform live on the virtual stage through the virtual platform, even for the preliminary audition. What's your thought of that?
Very good idea, because this is more like real life. A competition, you come, you perform, and that's it. That what the jury will judge you on, and not one of the best of 10 takes that you did at home. So I think it's very good. Yeah, I encourage that. I would agree with that.
How about you, Michael?
Yeah, definitely, I agree with that. It really emulates real life, and I'm very against sending takes as auditions or competitions. Yeah.
Okay, we are performing artists here, and I'm a big proponent of live means live. And the competition should not be the competition between somebody's pocketbook and somebody else's pocketbook. Because depending on that pocketbook, we can get better sound engineer with better equipment. And, this is not an even field. Sound Espressivo competition evens out that field. Play the way you are. And if someone comes on board, we haven't had contestants coming on board and performing from a big concert hall with 5 cameras and 3 assistants. We haven't had that. But if that happens, we will ask them to not do that, and we'll ask them to log in with a normal laptop and the more standard equipment, so that we can maintain more even field, because it's live and our producer is online and instructs the contestants to log in and tune up their tech before performance.
Yeah, it reminds me of the auditions what we do in universities.
Mm-hmm.
The online auditions are one take, not edited and not cut. Or auditions to orchestras. Even before the Verbier Orchestra, they ask the whole program to be in one take and begin to the end.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Now, there's another controversial thing about the Sound Espressivo competition, and a lot of competitions, even major ones, impose time limits on the performance. So some are more generous and they give you 20 minutes. Some are less generous, they give you 5 minutes, and anything in between. But majority of the competitions require a certain time, your performance to be within certain time limit. Sound Espressivo competition does not do that. We say there's no time limit. You pick how long you want to bore the judges to death or please them with your fabulous performance. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's very generous of you and very, very generous of the time of your jury member of the jury. If some pianist would like to play the whole Goldberg as slow as Glenn Gould's second recording, I believe, no? With all the repeats, it's great.
That would be me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So,
thank goodness I'm not competing.
So I think it's very fair. It's very respecting. I appreciate that. If you can afford that, it's great to offer it. I think that the fact that other competitions don't offer that is because of the time limit of the deal. What they do is they're members of the jury, and they don't have time, because if a person will play too long program, then how many people you can hear? But it's great.
Well, that's true. But Michael, you're the young musician. You're, maybe you don't like competing, but you're in that competitive niche, and people are discussing competitions a lot among your peers and your age group. If you were given such a freedom as to choose the length of your program as long or as short as you want, what would be the length of your program?
That's very interesting. I never heard of that, actually. I would probably play Depends obviously for what stage and what competition, but it could be 30 minutes, I guess, or 20 minutes. Of course, it depends on what stage it is, and I don't really know the context.
Well, you know what
but
that stage is. It's a virtual stage.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, what level of competition? I mean, but yeah, I think that's very interesting, and I really like that idea because it really gives freedom. It's like when you prepare a recital for a concert hall, you get to choose the program and the length of it and everything.
Exactly. Now, there's another aspect. Sound Espressivo competition does not prescribe a repertoire. And traditionally, competitions ask you to play Bach and sonata and a concerto and caprices and whatnot, and put it all together in one mixing pot. Sound Espressivo instead is asking musicians to choose the repertoire which will represent their personality and their direction the best. What do you think about that? Can that be judged, or does that make it really too challenging for judges to pick the winners?
Well, it is challenging. I think that the standardization of repertoire and competition supposed to help the members of the jury to judge equally. Let's say that there is a great virtuoso who can play Paganini in an incredible speed and precision, and it's like jaw-dropping, and that's only what they can present. But if you hear this person playing Bach or Beethoven or Mozart, forget about it. You don't want to hear one note. And of course, this person will present his Paganini, and the members of the jury says, "Wow, this is unbelievable. We never heard anything you like." On the other end, somebody else, gives a serious program and very deep. So it's difficult to compare Mozart sonata, even if it's played profoundly, with that fireworks Paganini. So I think that's the reason why in a competition there are some mandatory repertoire to see that the artist is a complete artist, and then you have also the recital stage in which you can choose maybe between categories like a sonata and a solo piece and something else from different periods, just to help to judge and compare more equally. I think that it's a nice idea. I think that for online competition, of course, if somebody comes with only Paganini, maybe it will reduce his chances to win, because
in the Sound Espressivo, we came from a completely different perspective, as opposed to looking for a complete artist for the winner. We kind of went on it's a controversial foundation which says no artist is a complete artist, and the best artist is an individual artist with their own perspective and their own recognizable signature and individuality. So we created the categories to reflect that. And if someone is a virtuoso Paganini caprice-oriented musician, we have a category of virtuosity. And if someone's direction is more lyrical, we have a category of lyricism. And there are artists who thrive in performing miniatures, and this refinement of the miniature performance is their most strong side. And so we have a category of miniaturist. And for those who are complete artists, and that is rare but possible, we have a category program where musicians can present a rounded, compiled program of their own choice, however they want to present it, and they can excel in presenting themselves as a rounded, all-encompassing artist. So that is a step in a completely different direction. What do you think, Michael? You are among the age group of our contestants. So what do you think about it?
That's very interesting. I like that it's divided into categories. That actually makes it easier for someone to prepare for a competition if he only wants to, work for a year on Paganini caprices or whatever he chooses. You can go to that category. That's I like that. Sounds good.
Now, if you
Yeah.
were competing, here's the example, for instance, from one of the categories, and this is one of the categories which we were told, well, it just sounds so dull, academic. You are not going to have any contestants applying for that, but in fact, we do. This is the category which promotes in-depth study of the score and the historic origins of it. And there are some people who are really very interested in that approach, and promotes, authenticity of the performance and adherence to in-depth knowledge of background and history of the composition, and maybe differences in editions and versions of it, and communicates, in a very academic way. And this is another category, for instance, which at first we got some controversial feedback. People disagreed whether or not to even include it in the competition, and it's a music ambassador. And that's the category where we strive to accommodate those musicians who include other forms of art and other forms of communication in their performance. For instance, maybe an artist wants to include a video, visual presentation, or maybe they want to play a piece with a candlelight, or maybe they want to speak about the piece and present a poetry. So here's the innovative category, for example, which puts a spotlight on people who are thriving in the new directions and new forms of musical expression. For instance, if someone wants to, play with themselves, like present a recording of themselves playing on an acoustic violin and add a live performance on the electric violin, or the other, vice versa, or create their own cadenza for a Mozart concerto. So this is the category for those people. And here is the lyrical category. And let's, we already kind of discussed that one a little bit. Let's move on to the next one. Here is the miniature. And those categories, like I said, we consulted with an enormous number of colleagues, kind of shaping the descriptions for those categories. Program, that's the one we mentioned also before. And profound, and that's the category specifically for musicians who strive to build their interpretation on an in-depth understanding of the piece and the composer's intention. So swift, that's the category for fast fingers, but not just fast fingers, also for this. There is a whole direction in playing where not only speed, but the feel of it, the swirling, encompassing energy of the speed is an artistic merit and artistic expression, an artistic tool. And here's the virtuosity, and I think that's the last one. We have 9 categories. So I have a question. It's a dual question, one for Michael and one for Hagai. And it proved to be a challenging question for both contestants and judges. We asked the judges, where do you believe your own direction? Where is your category? Because the judges choose which category to judge in the finals. And the contestants choose which category to apply for. So the semifinals panel nominations round, panel of judges will nominate you or not into the category of your choice. And if you get nominated, you go to the finals. And then you're kind of stuck. If you choose virtuosity and then, God forbid, you get nominated for that category, you're going to be judged by the judges who chose the category to judge. So who's going to take that question first? Which category would you choose as a judge? Hagai, which category would you choose as a contestant, Michael? And who wants to go first?
Well, the question is, how many rounds do I have? Do I have one choice, or can I come back in different category?
Yeah, you can come back in a different category.
So
yeah, you can judge more than one.
I would change. I would change because I think, again, playing, performing is a whole package. It's not like we just go for virtuosity or speed, or I don't want to say profoundness. We would like to have everything, and so I would switch.
Hmm. You would switch. So you would switch your judging. You would judge one category.
I would go first time. Maybe I would go for whatever full program, recital program, rounded, and then I'll be bored of that, and I will ask for virtuosity, because it's nice to hear people play fast also in this repertoire, and then I would choose another category. So it's interesting. Basically you are combining the different types of competitions, basically, and it is like bits and pieces from competitions combined together in different options, which is a very interesting idea, actually.
So what do you think, Michael? Which categories, you can choose more than one. Which categories would you choose?
Maybe the virtuosity one, and maybe the more all-rounded. I would definitely kind of try them all, if possible.
Is it like a lottery? You pick many columns, and then you hope that one of them will win.
It's like a game show.
You could, but then you would have to prepare for all of them, and the judges are going to be looking for probably very focused performance in, let's say 2 or 3. If you were to choose 2 or 3, which ones you feel would be more representing your personality?
Well, obviously depends on what I'm trying to achieve from the competition at that time that I'm going for it, but yeah, probably the virtuosity one and the lyrical one.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. These sometimes are considered opposites, and it's very interesting. We have contestants who are in both of those categories, lyrical and virtuosity. That's incredible.
I think also for young people it depends very much on the pieces that they are preparing and learning at that time. So if you did big work and you find that you're really playing fantastic, the Franck Sonata, so you're going to present that piece. And if you present that piece, you're not going to put it in the virtuosity category, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't put the Paganini Caprice in the profoundness musical category. So it depends also, it gives an option at the timeline of each contestant.
Mm-hmm.
To choose what they...
Yeah, because the composers also wrote their pieces with a certain purpose, and they sometimes had, specific direction, like Paganini or Liszt had the direction. But a lot of composers didn't have such a focused direction in their writing, so they wrote, for different occasions, they wrote different compositions which showcased and spotlighted different aspects of the aesthetics of the music as an art. Listen, this has been incredibly enriching to speak with both of you, and I'm tremendously pleased and honored to be the host of the program with 2 fantastic musicians from different generations who happen not to cut each other's throats but agree on many topics. This is wonderful. I would like to ask you to please wrap up our program before we finish with a message to the music community. I know it sounds maybe a little bit grandiose, but we are speaking to the music community right now, and music community is in need of communication and in need of your message. So, Michael, would you like to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to say just keep doing music. Keep doing what you love, and quality will win. The music will win, and even if times are difficult right now and there is a decline, it will bounce back and we will win.
That's wonderful. Thank you. I can't agree more, Michael. Thank you for this very empowering message. Hagai, would you please?
Yeah, well, I think that music was way before us and will be way after us. It is a universal language. It is a part of nature. I think that we must stick to it. We must use it to communicate. I think it enriches our lives, our souls, and we should continue to do it because it is who we are. Yeah, it differentiates mankind from other animals. So we should never forget this. It's an important part of our life, and it should stay like this, even in difficult times, or especially in difficult times.
Thank you very much. Yes, especially in difficult times, it's not the right time to give up on what we love and value. Can't agree more. Thank you so much. And with this, we are coming to the end of today's program. And again, I want to thank our guests. And I want to thank people behind the scenes. They're also professional musicians who added an additional set of skills during the pandemic. They learned how to prepare and direct and maintain the connection for this television show. And I want to applaud their perseverance and their ability and their help. So thank you, our producers. Thank you, our technical engineers and sound and video producers. Thank you, our viewers, our supporters, and everyone. And we'll be back again soon. Bye for now.
Thank you
Bye.
very much.
Thank you for
Bye-bye.
having us.